Hello and welcome to part 3 of What If Goku was Angel Saiyan Hybrid. On the last parts, the Frieza saga was covered. And as you know, the Android saga is not going to happen because in the first part, Goku already took care of every remaining person in the Red Ribbon Army. And yeah, Goku's clothes had gotten destroyed during training with Gohan and Goten, so he decided to wear the turtle gi for the time being. And Goten and Gohan have become way stronger than their original counterparts. Goten being up to 3 times stronger, as he does have that angel DNA within himself. And Gohan is as strong as his tournament counterpart. But this is a little bit before the Majin Buu saga starts, because they would train for like 10 to 11 years, because 4 years between the Android saga, because the 3 years and the 1 year from the Frieza. Okay, so 4 years Android saga, because that's when the androids were supposed to show up, but they didn't since Dr. Gero is dead. And then 6 years is the time that Goten was born in, because Goten is 6. So yeah, that's how that went down. So they would all grow way stronger than their original counterparts. And Gohan wouldn't be much, like, after he realizes that his father and his younger brother are fairly strong, well, no, really strong, he decides that he doesn't really like fighting. Well, it's not that he doesn't like it, it's just that there's other things he would rather do than to just train all day. So he decides to become a scholar. While Goten, he loves fighting. And Goku would teach him a very special power that only they know for the time being. And no, it's not Ultra Instinct, as Goku feels that Goten's body would not be able to handle the power of Ultra Instinct, and he is completely right. Trunks and Vegeta would begin to train as well. Trunks being a bit stronger than his original counterpart. In his whole life, he was filled with the idea that Goku and Goten and Gohan were just trash clowns that didn't deserve the power they obtained, because Vegeta would fill his head with these thoughts. And in this time, Trunks would grow up to hate Goten, since Vegeta hasn't accepted the fact that Goku is stronger than him, so he still hates Goku. Sorry, I'm eating while I'm doing this, and my nose is a little stuffed, so I'm probably going to stop frequently. Vegeta would pretty much just put these thoughts into Trunks' head. Gohan would never really become the great Saiyan man, as he doesn't really care if people find out his identity. And he can still technically say, that Mr. Satan is stronger than him, how they've been doing this whole time. Not wanting to ruin his image and whatnot. So, that's that. And Videl and Gohan still hang out. And she would tell him to join the Tenkaichi Budokai, which he doesn't, but he does tell Goten, Trunks, Vegeta, and Goku about it, and they all decide to join. The junior division is a wipe for Goten and Trunks. No child there could withstand their power, and they would begin to brawl. Trunks not holding back because of his hatred for Goten, he would instantly power up into Super Saiyan 2, which he had learned through hard training with his father. And his training was very intense, as he was able to reach Super Saiyan 2 in the matter of 2 years, and Super Saiyan in the matter of a couple of months. Goten would stay in his base form, as he's had a hard time, like, accessing. Oh my god. Hold up. And they would begin to clash. It was obvious that Trunks had the advantage, but Goten was not that far behind. Each punch would shake the stadium, and they would send each other flying back. It was obvious that Goten had the edge in technique, but Trunks was still a little bit. Whoa, that's spicy. A little too strong for him. And Goten would hear his father yelling out to him. As Goku would tell him that he can use the power, but hold back, because he doesn't want Goten to end up killing Trunks or hurting him too bad, since he thinks that they're friends. Hold on, where's napkin? Never mind. So Goten would start charging up, and Trunks, thinking he could take on Goten no problem, would let him. But this would be one of the biggest mistakes he would ever make, as Goten was able to tap in to the Super Saiyan God power, and he would make quick work of Trunks, thus winning the tournament instead of Trunks winning the tournament like in the original. Goten would go to try to help Trunks up, but Trunks would smack his hand away before running off. Goku and Vegeta would destroy everyone in the tournament. Since Gohan wasn't there, Spopovich and Yamu haven't yet attacked, since no one else can really make Goku or Vegeta use their full power, or even go beyond 10%. But they would face off with each other. Vegeta had been waiting for this moment, and they would power up in their bases. Their bases being so strong that this would trigger Spopovich and Yamu to grab a hold of Vegeta and start draining his energy away. And this would anger Goku. So he would fly at Spopovich and get ready to punch him. But Babidi, knowing the strength of Goku, he would teleport the two away. Spopovich and Yamu were now closer to the ship, and Goku and Vegeta were still in at the tournament arena. This is where the Supreme Kai and Kibito would reveal themselves and tell Goku and Vegeta to go after Spopovich and Yamu. And that's what they would do. Once locating them, Vegeta would then start to hear voices in his head. These voices would tell him that they could offer him power, great power, to defeat Goku. This voice was Babidi's. And Vegeta, hating Goku even more than the original and wanting to kill him, he would think that this would finally be his chance to put the Saiyan in his place and finally defeat him. So Vegeta would start to power up. He would go into Super Saiyan, then Super Saiyan 2. And he would then ascend beyond Super Saiyan 2, going into his version of the Super Saiyan 3. That's what he calls it. As his hair would turn orange and his aura would become orange as well, Goku would turn around, powering up into Super Saiyan. As he would ask Vegeta, why was he powering up? They hadn't even gotten inside of the ship yet. Vegeta would say nothing. As an M appeared on his forehead, he would then dash at Goku. Goku would instantly power up into Super Saiyan 2, and their fists would clash. Goku was kept on the defensive, as Vegeta's overwhelming power was too much for him in Super Saiyan 2. But wanting to overcome this challenge, Goku would remain in Super Saiyan 2 for most of the fight. Until finally, he would throw the final punch. Vegeta would dodge before punching him in his gut and hitting a direct Gallic gun straight to the face of Goku, sending him into his base and flying into the ground. Vegeta would begin to laugh over Goku's body, and Goku would weakly start to stand up. He didn't have enough energy to go into the Super Saiyan God form, so he would close his eyes and clear his mind. As his aura would burst with a light blue. This would scare Vegeta, as he knows the capabilities of this power. Goku would disappear and appear behind him. And at first, Vegeta thought Goku just didn't touch him or missed. But then he would feel multiple pains in his back and stomach. And multiple shockwaves would then be felt. Goku was moving faster than anyone could see. And Vegeta would begin to black out. While blacking out, Vegeta would hang on to his last bit of consciousness and begin to charge up even more. Him charging up was going to destroy the planet, and he would begin to start attacking Goku. Goku would duck and dodge under his attacks, being way faster than Vegeta. And he realized that the world began to crumble and fall apart. So in his last stitch effort, he throws a full power punch at Vegeta, not holding back. This punch would go straight through the chest of the Saiyan, knocking him into his base. He would still be alive, and he would still try to attack Goku, getting ready to fire a point-blank ki blast to the face of Goku. And Goku's Ultra Instinct kicking in out of nowhere, he would then punch Vegeta in his head, knocking him off of his arm and onto the floor, eventually bleeding out and dying. Trunks would have witnessed all of this, as he was sad about his father's death. He would yell out, powering up into Super Saiyan, cursing Goku as he would fly off. Now, Majin Buu would be revived, and he would begin to fly at Goku, but then he would be erased from existence. Goku would be confused, as he would see a purple cat standing behind where the pink blob once was. This cat would be Beerus. Beerus would stare down Goku and say, "A mere mortal using the power of Ultra Instinct. This is quite interesting. I felt this power a couple of times before, but it was never as great as this." And Goku would ask who he was. Beerus would introduce himself as the god of destruction, Lord Beerus. And he would challenge Goku right then and there. Goku, not wanting to back down from a fight, he would accept, as he would disappear from Beerus' sights as a a mere flash. Beerus would throw up his arms blocking, but he would still get hit with multiple attacks, only blocking a couple. This would send him flying back as he was then met with a barrage of kicks from Goku, and it would send him flying into the air. Beerus would stop himself before flying down and throwing a punch at Goku. Goku would dodge, but then he would be met with a kick to the chin from Beerus, sending him flying into the air. Goku would catch himself before punching the air, sending shockwaves that would hit Beerus, send him driving, just drive him through the ground. Beerus would then stand up and start brushing off his clothes, telling the Saiyan he's not bad, but due to inexperience with the form, or not inexperience, rather, more of a lack of usage, his punches couldn't hit as hard as he wanted them to, and Beerus would start to power up. Beerus would power up into his own Ultra Instinct, having the strength that Goku didn't, but Goku would have the speed that he had not, and they would begin to clash. Each punch sending shockwaves across the earth, breaking it bit by bit. And they would then collide punches, both connecting with the other's face, and they would be sent flying. Goku would be knocked out of the Ultra Instinct form, as he had used it for too long, and Beerus would then power down, as there was no point in fighting a person that wasn't in tip-top shape. Whis would heal Goku and heal Beerus, as he would propose to train Goku and Beerus together on Beerus' planet. And Beerus had liked the sound of that, as he wanted to get stronger so this mortal couldn't compete. And Goku wanted to be strong enough to fight Beerus again. So he would look at his two sons and tell them to train as hard as they can, since they're going to be the ones to protect the Earth for a while. Well, they're going to be the ones that have to protect Earth for a while. And they would nod their heads, being confident in their strength, especially Goten. Goten would propose that the two train, and they would do so. And before they commenced training, Kami, a god from above, or the god of the earth, rather, would have them train in not Kami, because I'm pretty sure Kami's dead, but Mr. Popo would suggest that they train in the hyperbolic time chamber, and they would step in the time chamber. Gohan going into Super Saiyan 2, but Goten would go into Super Saiyan God, outclassing Gohan. Even though Gohan was fairly strong, the power of Super Saiyan God was too much. Goten, even though being 6 years old, he's a pretty bad teacher, but he was able to teach Gohan how to use the power, and this would even out the odds, as they were both fairly around the same level, with Gohan being a bit stronger. Then Goten would have the idea to ascend past this form by stacking transformations. And Goten, having the mind of a kid, this is why I feel he would get this idea in the first place. And because his imagination is far greater than Gohan's. So Goten would have to first learn how to actually go Super Saiyan, as he had never been able to do it. But Gohan already knew how to do this. So with a little bit of practice, he was able to reach it. Super Saiyan Blue. He was now leagues above Goten. But when they trained, Goten having a higher potential, was able to reach farther out and make the gap a little smaller between the two. The gap is still it's still a great gap in between the two, but he was able to get stronger so that his Super Saiyan God form would be able to compare just a little bit to Gohan's Super Saiyan Blue form. And they would leave the time chamber. Goten, all grown up, well, not all grown up, he's just a teenager. But Gohan, on the other hand, is a lot older. As they would leave the time chamber, Trunks would be waiting outside of it, hiding. And once they would leave, he would sneak past Mr. Popo and go into the time chamber himself, as he would train in there, getting stronger, hoping that one day he would avenge his father and kill Goten and his father. He would then reach new heights of power and a new form. Forgot to add that Goten and Trunks have tails. I just couldn't find a way to add a tail onto them. And as Trunks got older, his hair would start to become blue, similar to the future Trunks in Dragon Ball Super. And one day, Raditz would arrive back on Earth. As he had left for a while, no one had seen him, but he left to train. And he would look at Goten, and he would say, "Goku." And Goten would tell him, "Nah, man, like, I'm Goten." And Gohan would explain to Raditz what he had missed. Raditz did not know of the birth of Goten. And since Goten's a lot taller, he would assume he was an adult. So, being a little excited that he has another nephew, he would realize that Goten is taller than the both of them, being only a teenager. But he wants to get in some training that he missed. So thinking Goten isn't that strong, he would actually challenge Gohan. And Gohan would tell him that they would probably need to go somewhere off planet, since if they want to go all out, they might destroy the planet itself. And Raditz would agree. Raditz would tell Gohan to go all out, and Gohan would say fine, as he would go into his Super Saiyan God form. Raditz wouldn't be able to feel his ki anymore. I mean, no, yes he would. I'm lying. And he could he could feel the power radiating off of Gohan, as he would charge at Gohan and begin to throw multiple punches that Gohan would block with ease before punching him in his chest, sending him flying. They were on an unknown planet, and there had seemed to be no life. So Gohan wasn't pulling his punches. Well, he was, but to the point where he was still, his punches were still shaking the planet. But they weren't strong enough to kill Raditz. Raditz would then power up into Super Saiyan. And his Super Saiyan power, with the training he received going throughout the galaxy, would be equivalent, if not greater, than the Super Saiyan 3 Goku during the Beer saga. But it still wouldn't be enough for Super Saiyan God Gohan, as Super Saiyan God Gohan is stronger than the Super Saiyan God Goku. And after Gohan would beat Raditz, he would tell him that this wasn't even his full power. And it would show Raditz Super Saiyan Blue. And Raditz would tell Gohan to teach him how to go to reach these heights and new forms. And Gohan would agree. Back on Earth, Trunks had gathered the Dragon Balls and made a wish. This wish will be revealed at the end of the video. And he would return to see Goten. As he would stare off at Goten, and Goten would stare at him. Goten already knows what he's here for. And they would waste no time. They would charge at each other, throwing punch after punch, kick after kick. Goten was obviously way stronger. Well, not way stronger, but he was stronger. And he was dominating Trunks. Trunks was able to get in a few blows, but these blows were not compared to the amount of damage he was receiving. He would power up into Super Saiyan 2, and still, the match would finally be even, with Trunks just a little bit ahead. Trunks' hatred would boost his power to new heights, making him start beating on Goten. And Goten would go Super Saiyan, as he knows how. And this would anger Trunks, as Trunks still couldn't beat him. But then he remembered that form he's been holding back. And he would throw up a power ball, as he would yell out, "Burst open and mix," similar to how his father did in the original during Dragon Ball Z. Going into Super Saiyan 4, he would punch Goten, and Goten would be knocked out of his Super Saiyan form, coughing up blood, as he would begin to beat on Goten without remorse. And Goten would have no choice but to power up into his Super Saiyan God form. Goten would go God, but he had only evened out the scales, and still, Trunks' power was growing. With every punch, they began to shatter and shake the earth, to the point where even Gohan and Raditz and Goku and Beerus could feel it. Their anger would boost their power to new heights. They would go beyond even Gohan's Super Saiyan Blue. The only thing keeping them going is the hatred for one another. But then, Trunks would use his sword and cut Goten's arm before kicking him into the ground and shooting multiple ki blasts at him. Goten would think it was over, and he would believe that this is where he dies, as he would hear a female voice start screaming at Trunks to stop, and he would turn his head to see his mom running after Trunks. Trunks would then smirk as he would hold out his hand towards Chi-Chi, and he would prepare to shoot a ki blast at her, as a burst of blue light would appear in front of her, swiping the ki blast away right before it could hit her. Goten would be shining with light blue hair. He had finally achieved the Super Saiyan Blue form. And I know the outfit changed because, I couldn't find any ones with the same outfit. I'm sorry. But that's Goten. Goten would then stare down Trunks, telling him that he had gone too far this time, as he would begin to beat on Trunks. Trunks couldn't even comprehend the power that Goten withholds. Goten's power is now equivalent to the Universe 6 Saga Super Saiyan Blue Goku. But this is only because the rage boost and because this is his first time in the form. Because we all know that their first time in a form is always one of their strongest times. because for some reason that's just how it works in the Dragon Ball Z universe. But this onslaught would pretty much be too much for Trunks, as he would fall into his base. But Goten, seeing some good in his heart, past all the hatred, he would spare Trunks, and Trunks would take his kindness, and he would always remember this. As he decides Goten isn't all that bad after all. But he then realizes that he had revived Vegeta, and Vegeta was not so forgiving. As he noticed that he was outmatched by Goten, which kind of angered him, as Goten is just a child. So he would go into a ship from Capsule Corp, and he would fly off planet, going to train by himself, so he can come back and enact revenge upon the Sun family and his own son for betraying him.